name's Katie, and welcome to my video. I just started a channel, so I didn't get to post in August TBR. I don't usually even make TBRs, but since I decided to do this channel, I thought maybe I would try. So I thought maybe I would just show you what I've been reading in the first half of August, what I'm still finishing up, and what I would like to finish before the month is over. The first book I read in August is Anna of Cleve, The Princess and the Portrait by Alison Weir. This is the fourth book in her Six Tudor Queens series. I've been with this series for a few years now. It's really good if you like historical fiction, but specifically surrounding monarchy, and the actual historical accuracy has been different book to book, but she explains all that in the author's notes as to why she went the route that she did with some things. Overall, it's been a pretty good series. I didn't like this book as much as I liked some of the other ones, just some of the choices that were made, and then the fact that this particular queen, there's not a whole lot that's known about her, and yet she still manages to write nearly 500 pages. So a lot of it's made up and really, frankly, didn't need to be. I would have been happy with like a 300-page book. But I'm not sad I read it, and I'm going to finish the series. I think it's worth a read if that's the type of thing you enjoy. The next book I read was actually a reread. It's Annihilation by Vandermeer. I feel like this has been pretty popular on BookTube. Most people know what it is, and then the fact that there was a movie that came out helped too. The movie was okay. I liked the book more, but duh. This one was really interesting because it's almost like an adventurer recounting her tales, but in a very weird world where nothing quite makes sense, and you don't really get any answers in this book, and I'm okay with that, but I know a lot of other people it really bothered them. Once I was finished with this, I decided to continue on with the rest of the series, which I had never read before. So then I started Authority, which honestly was so boring. It's supposed to be the book where you start figuring out the answers to what's going on in Area X and all the weird things that the biologist from the first book was experiencing, but it was just really boring. You're following a man who calls himself Control. He just got the job as the director of the Southern Reach, which is the government agency that's been investigating the happenings in Area X for like 30 years. And oh my god, it took me like 3 days to read this, which it should not have taken me 3 days to read this, but it felt like it took me a week to read this because I was so bored through the whole thing. But it is what it is, and I'm continuing on because I want to know what's happening, and I want the series to end on a high note. And that brings me to Acceptance, which I'm currently reading, and so far is significantly better than Authority. In this one, we're actually following several people. We're following Control again, but we're also following some really important characters that you hear about in the first two books, and that's making it so much better because now we're actually getting real answers, which I kind of just feel like book 2 was a waste of time, honestly. You could have taken the few key points and added like 50 pages to this book and it would have been just fine. It's not my call. I'm not the author, I'm not the publisher, so this is going well. We'll see. Hopefully I'll finish it in the next couple days and let you know if I do a wrap-up if I liked it. The other book that I'm currently reading is Accessory to War by deGrasse, Tyson, and Avis. This book is another book that suffers from just being longer than it needs to be. The first like 100 or so pages were just unnecessary, I think. I'm only a little over halfway done, but the whole topic is supposed to be the alliance between astrophysics and the military. And you don't even really get into that until like page 160. The first few chapters are discussing the history of astronomy and how the sky was used to tell time and how the sky was used to navigate during sea voyages. I just didn't think it was necessary. And that was a slog to get through. But then once you really get into like the meat of the book, it gets a lot more interesting. And then it's Neil deGrasse Tyson, so there's lots of little like quippy lines thrown in throughout that are highly amusing. So overall, I've been enjoying this. I just wish maybe the first 100 or so pages hadn't been included. The book I would like to get to this month, I read the first chapter. It's Damned Lies and Statistics by Joel Best. This is a study of how and why statistics can be used to promote spreading of misinformation, essentially, and what to look for when you're looking at statistics that are being used to prove a point, things to keep in mind as far as, is there any bias in who is presenting it? Do the numbers even make sense for what they're trying to say? Just trying to teach you to think a little more critically about what is trying to be proved and if the numbers they're using actually make sense. So far, it's interesting. We'll see. The final book I want to read this month is Good Me, Bad Me by Allie Land. I really don't know much about this other than it follows a woman whose mother was a serial killer. I don't really want to know more than that. I'm kind of afraid this is gonna suck, but it has such a promising premise. Like, how would your life be if your parent was a serial killer? What does that mean for you? So hopefully this goes well. I'll let you know if I do a wrap up. I'm sure I will. Anyway, that's it for the books I've been reading and would like to finish. I did a separate video talking about the books I want to read in the last half of the month, because that's the history challenge is taking place in the last half of the month, and I have a whole different TBR for that. So if you'd like to, you can go check that out. I'll link it. I probably have like 3 videos, so you can probably find it easily if you're curious. Thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll see you soon.